Hi everybody, drawninjakc here, and one of the questions I get asked most since I've started doing this anime glass painting is how do you prevent your paint from cracking? Apparently this is a big problem with beginners. Once they lay down the paint and it dries, it cracks, and it really does affect the end look of your glass painting. So I do have the answers for that question, and I'm here today to share them with you. Let's go! Okay, but first of all, the most important thing to remember is there isn't only one reason that your paint may be cracking. There are a few reasons, and I'm just going to go down a list of reasons that I'm familiar with that the paint may be cracking, and also some solutions to those reasons. Okay, everyone, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. All right, so one of the reasons that your paint cracks is because it's too thin. Now look at this. You see how the red is very jelly-like and the gray is very liquidy, and when you lean the glass to the side, you see already the gray is running, right? So to gauge how thick your paint should be, put the paint on the glass, tilt it to the side, and if it runs down, it's too thin. But if it stays in place, it's just right. So when you do mix the paint to make different colors, keep the paint in the same consistency that it comes in. Don't add water. And if you have to add water, do what I call the tilt test, and you'll be able to see if your paint is too thin to add to the glass. Okay? All right. Now, your number two reason is the quality of your paint may not be very good. Now, this is actually a thing. Okay? Now, there's some paints that are high quality, some paints that are low quality, acrylic paints. Acrylic paints are acrylic paints, okay? They are water-based and they come thick in either in the tube or bottles like these, which I use, which is Liquitex, okay? But one of the things about your cracking paint, believe it or not, you could be using the wrong kind of paint. The cheap paints are gonna crack because they're just not made with the same quality material. I recommend, and these are not expensive paints at all, so you can definitely afford them. I recommend like what I use here, which is Liquitex, Liquitex acrylic colors, also golden acrylic paints. Those brands are pretty good and they're inexpensive. There are other brands that you can use as well, like the Blick brand. Liquitex, I must admit, is a little bit more expensive than the previously mentioned, but still, again, if you are doing or want to do anime glass painting to make it one of your revenue streams, then I think it's worth it to get the good quality paints because you can charge your customers accordingly. All right? Okay, the third reason your paint cracks, and this is one of the most important reasons, is the fact that the paint that you're using, when you do use, like when you put down the layers and the globs of paint, the top layer dries faster than the bottom layer, right? So what happens is after the top layer dries, as the bottom layer is drying, it hardens up and splits the top slowly. And that's why you get the cracks as the bottom paint dries. Now there's a couple ways to deal with this. One way is to put a thinner layer of paint at the bottom, right? And then let it dry completely, all right? It won't crack because you're not putting globs and globs and globs, all right? And then on that layer of paint, put another layer. This way the bottom layer is already dried, so the top layer, even when it's drying, you won't have it like I mentioned before where the bottom layer is drying and splitting the top open. That is one way to deal with that, and it will not crack. Now, the other way to deal with cracking paint, now, the paint cracks because, yes, it is acrylic paints, and you are laying, you're probably doing the things that I mentioned before, okay? But one of the things that works with me is that I don't even use acrylic paints. For most of my glass art, I don't really use acrylic paints. I use acrylic paints for some and then I mix it with other paints. But the paints that I use mostly are called Testor's enamel paints, and these are the paints that the car model maker enthusiasts use to paint their car models. And this paint for anime glass paintings is like the golden goose. It's like something I discovered and I've been using it. I made videos about it, comparing it to acrylics, and this is the best product that I have come across to make your anime glass paintings look golden. The finish is pristine. The finish is even better than the finish of an acrylic glass painting. So, I mean, the standard is, of course, everybody uses acrylic paints because most artists will have acrylic paints hanging around. So they can't wait to get started. They start using the acrylic paints. Fine. But for me, I've realized that every time I do a anime glass painting with the Testor's enamels paint, it is mwah, beautiful. Okay, so check out my other videos where I've done just the painting and see the results of those. And I'm telling you, you'll definitely notice that there's a big difference. I'll put a link in the description below where you can get the Testor's enamel paint. I do recommend that when you use Testor's enamel paint, you also buy the thinner. They come in these little bottles, the paint and the thinner. So I do recommend using them in a well-ventilated room because they do smell like paint. And you'll have your whole room smelling like paint. But if you use it in a well-ventilated room, also have a fan blowing the paint fumes or smell away from you, so you don't have to smell paint the whole day while you're using them. But other than that, it is actually a great, even better alternative to using acrylic paints, because for me personally, the finish comes out 10 times better. Okay, and I do have a video where I compare acrylic paints to enamel paint, and you guys can see side by side which works better for you. Okay, and the best part about the Testor's enamel paint is that there is no cracking. I've never had any problems with them cracking. They go down smooth. They're like plastic. It's great. So definitely try those out if you are interested. I'll put links in below to all these things I'm mentioning, okay? If you are new to this channel, please do not forget to like this video, to subscribe, and to smash that notification bell so you know when I upload these really awesome videos. And also, it's okay to share a video if you think it'll help your friends too, all right? This is drawninjakc saying I will see you next time. Yeah!